What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Remen, aka All Fires. Now, as if there isn't enough going on right now
Shout
with
out
Marvel
everything
Studios, the
always.
Fantastic Four trailer officially coming tomorrow, and then basically dropping a brand new Captain America Brave New World trailer every single day, we have a bombshell headline that literally broke within the last hour, indicating that Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige.
Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jay Wade. You watching Wait a Minute TV, and wait a minute, Jonathan Majors returning as Kang. This is phenomenal. Let's get into this reaction.
Is considering bringing back Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror to close his storyline. We're going to break down exactly where this article came from, read through it in full, and then try to add some context, if we even can, as to why Marvel Studios may have done a 180 here from cutting all ties with the actor and restructuring their multiverse saga to considering bringing him back now to close.
We already know why. They saw that Magazine Dreams trailer, and they saw that the fans unanimously was like, yeah, no, he deserved a second chance. But let's continue.
The Kang storyline. We're breaking it all down, this bombshell that Jonathan Majors may be back as Kang the Conqueror in the future of the MCU. Okay, so this story actually broke within the last hour at the Industry Insider editorial Screen Geek. Again, under the headline exclusive, Marvel's Kevin Feige considering bringing Jonathan Majors back to the MCU. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige is considering bringing Jonathan Majors back after the studio cut ties with the actor.
Y'all have no idea just how excited I am to hear this news. After hearing everything that this man went through, after the whole fiasco with him and what's her face, that's now, you know, nearly tarnished his career, and the fact that Kevin Feige himself is stating that he's considering bringing him back. Words can't even explain right now. Let's get into it.
Where they go on to report, quote, at one point, Jonathan Majors was being set up to follow Josh Brolin's footsteps as the next overarching Marvel villain. His character, Kang the Conqueror, was established with several appearances. However, Marvel Studios cut ties with Jonathan Majors after he was convicted of assault, though studio head Kevin Feige now reportedly wants Jonathan Majors back in the MCU, and they continue by saying, quote, according to our sources, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige is considering bringing Jonathan Majors back into the MCU. The idea is for Majors to appear in a future Marvel project to wrap up some loose ends with Kang and close the character's story. Now, first off and right off the bat, let me be very clear how I feel about this, and I don't really care if you disagree, you can let me know in the comments. They should absolutely do this. Jonathan Majors 100% deserves it. Now,
Absolutely. 1,000%. Bring Jonathan Majors back. Marvel, Disney, whoever, Kevin Feige, bring that man back. Because first of all, his work is phenomenal. I am a huge fan of Jonathan Majors' work. That man can act his ass off. His range is out of this world, right? And I might be biased as a fan, but let it be told by other people, he's phenomenal as well. And also, with that being said, the fact that he was even let go is like, why? We get it though. Like, we understand the legal part, but let's continue.
now look, I know what happened with him and what happened with James Gunn was a little bit different. James Gunn had some really ill-colored tweets that came out and he got fired, but then he got brought back. But it's not as though Marvel Studios, the whole Hollywood industry, isn't fluid and doesn't give people second chances. That's what Robert Downey Jr. being given a second chance to be Iron Man after his prison stint was all about. So yes, 100,000% Jonathan Majors deserves it. They should absolutely bring him back. I am not surprised at all that this finally broke as a headline, because look, Marvel Studios wanted to make a pivot into Doctor Doom given that Variety article without Jonathan Majors' legal troubles, and as it stands, that may have just been the off-ramp they were looking for. But now that they've brought Robert Downey Jr. back, they absolutely risk nothing by doing this. I know there are those people out there, and I've even said something along the lines of, you bring Robert Downey Jr. in to make everybody forget about Jonathan Majors' Kang. You don't then go ahead and bring Kang the Conqueror back. But given this circumstance and the way the chips have fallen now, this is something I think they absolutely should do. Now, obviously, Kang the Conqueror was set up to be a multiversal villain, and remember, Loki Season 2 was concluded before they knew what was happening with Jonathan Majors and his trial and all this legal troubles. They basically gave themselves the off-ramp that they might have been looking for, and then his legal troubles just basically sealed the deal. But he has obviously suffered consequences, paid the price, they should absolutely bring him back. In the Fantastic Four #2 down the road after the multiverse saga has concluded, maybe as Rama Tut or a different variant, would absolutely 100% serve the character and serve him as a villain for the Fantastic Four and the film. That's where I think it should take place. There are those who say, hey, King the Conqueror should show up and then Doctor Doom should squash him to basically illustrate that Doctor Doom is that much more powerful.
I never agreed with that whole concept of Doctor Doom coming in and just thrashing all of the Kang variants. Not possible. One Kang by himself, if you know about Kang the Conqueror, he's a menace. One Kang by himself is a fight and a half, right? And we're talking about an infinite amount of variants of this man. Come on, man. Stop it. On bro. Cut it out.
But let's face it, he already got squashed by Ant-Man and the Wasp at the end of Quantumania. I don't really think that would do more to set up Doom, and I honestly feel like that would just be a dead end for his character, not really the sort of validation that he's looking for in bringing him back. And probably Marvel Studios sees this from a bird's eye view, and I don't think that's the place for him. Again, they brought Doctor Doom in to be the villain on these next couple of films, and they have more than enough to try to explain and work into the film. There are characters that they are cutting down right now. They are not going to work Kang the Conqueror back into this after going through great lengths to get rid of him as the villain for the rest of the multiverse saga and, of course, Avengers Secret Wars. Now look, at the end of the day, Marvel Studios doesn't have to do this. In fact, you could argue there's more to be lost than gained here, but for the sake of Jonathan Majors, they should absolutely do it. This isn't just about, well, you bring back Kang after you got rid of him, and Doom was really the big villain, so why would anybody care now if it's after the multiverse saga? It's not about any of that. It's about Jonathan Majors being brought back to finish his character, and undeniably, he was settling into that role really, really well. Look, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania may not have done at the box office what Marvel was hoping for, and they may have had...
Forget Quantumania. His performance as Kang in Quantumania in Loki was phenomenal. Like, Kang the Conqueror is already one of my favorite villains of like the Marvel universe. And then to have a phenomenal actor play him as well and then be able to portray him so well, you actually start looking at him as that character. Come on, man.
Doubts about whether or not him as a villain could have carried the multiverse saga, but let's face it, there were problems with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and Jonathan Majors as Kang was not one of them. And his portrayal as multiple variants, especially as they got into Loki Season 2, was absolutely amazing. I really feel like a lot of fans not only want to see him return, but think that he was excellent in that role and one of the shining stars out of Phase 4 and Phase 5. And honestly, it's only upside for Marvel. If they go and do this, I doubt they'll face any backlash at all, but they will ingratiate themselves to all of the fans like myself who think that Jonathan Majors should be given a second chance and brought back to actually finish what he started in with that character. And sort of on a side note, because I know you guys come here for my opinion and reporting about the MCU and not life in general, but man, like, do people need to be made to suffer and be punished for their mistakes forever? I hate, as a parent, that, kids these days don't get an opportunity to make genuine mistakes because there's cameras everywhere and ridiculous consequences for things that when we were kids, we would get away with. And I'm not saying what Jonathan Majors did was a kid, but what I'm saying is that with cameras everywhere and with the court of public opinion being what it is now, that there's central discourse on the internet, on YouTube videos, on TikTok videos, I just feel like at some rate, people should be allowed to make mistakes, pay whatever price or consequence they have to pay, and then you give them a second chance. There is nothing to be gained from grudging against people or being mad about something they did in perpetuity, and especially not in this case. But of course, you guys let me know, as always, what you feel and think down in the comments. You are definitely allowed to disagree with me at every turn. Like I said, I don't censor my comments in this regard. I mean, I do censor them if you say ridiculous stuff, but I don't censor them in the sense if we don't agree on opinions. That's not me. That's not my type of YouTube channel.
I absolutely agree. He should not be, shunned for the rest of his life due to a simple mistake. He held himself accountable in that situation. He had to pay the price for what he did in that situation. Whether or not you want to say he absolutely did it or absolutely did not do it, that's a whole nother conversation. But the truth of the matter is it wasn't nearly as egregious as it was made out to be. And honestly, I think it was truly a mistake on his part. But if you disagree with me, if you disagree with everything always, man, shout out everything always. Go follow him. Tell him wait a minute sent you. And yeah, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna post the link to the full video in the description. But yeah, if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, post what your thoughts are down in the comments. I'm curious to know. Until then, YouTube fam, I'm out.